What is up, YouTube, and welcome to this Game of Thrones Season 7 Episode 3 video review. So if you're new to the channel, a like and a subscribe is super appreciated. So winter is here and Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen have finally met up. Two people who have wanted to meet up for absolutely ever. So finally this meeting has happened and it wasn't as epic as we were expecting. I don't know, I expect that I put too much on this. I was really hyped, pumped for these two family members to finally meet each other. Two people who kind of weren't aware of each other explicitly. And, well, they finally meet. And, well, that's it. It didn't really go off to a huge kind of big thing that we were all expecting, and sadly it wasn't the hype that I expected personally. Perhaps, like I said, I read or I expected far too much from it. They literally met. Daenerys was completely shrugging off the idea of him being king of the north. She was saying that, well, you're in open rebellion and she's not his prisoner yet being the prime word there. But the problem is, well, they met each other and we had all this expectation, but we've got a whole season ahead of us. Albeit it is a shorter season than what we are used to, but albeit it is a shorter season all the same. And I really wanted her to be like, right, that's it, let's go. And one problem I had with the meeting here is not the fact that it didn't really seem like they lacked a tad bit of chemistry, unfortunately. But the problem here was when she mentioned dragonglass, we literally cut to her saying, dragonglass! And we never really learned how she knew that, or we didn't have Jon Snow explain that's what kills the White Walkers. And that would have been more interesting. That would have been a really interesting scene, but the show is going at an absolute bat out of hell's pace. There hasn't been really... People saying that the first episode was really slow, and this show seems to be going really slow this season, but no, it hasn't, because we've had storylines which would have taken absolute season, like a whole season to explain, but they're happening right now. I mean, the whole battle with when Euron pops out of nowhere, I mean, them at sea, that battle probably would have lasted a whole season, or, sorry, a whole kind of episode in the past, but this time it hasn't. And unfortunately, the whole meeting, I expect, just was a bit damp. It didn't really have the fireworks that we were expecting. And unfortunately here, it does seem like Daenerys Targaryen has bitten off a bit more than she can actually chew. So here, it doesn't seem like it's all going that well for Daenerys, and she's really on the back foot here in Westeros. It seems like she fought cities which didn't have armies like the Lannisters or navies like the Greyjoys, or at least Euron Greyjoy. She hasn't fought these kind of people before, and these, like Casterly Rock, people like Jaime Lannister, who are tactician experts. They are absolute experts because they've been fighting a war for years. They have also fought in previous wars. They are scholars. I mean, Jaime Lannister, we obviously didn't see him grow up, but he would have had the best kind of education that money could really buy. I mean, obviously he would have been with the Maesters and would have taught by him, which he would have had an explicit kind of real know-how of what to do in these situations. And again, it comes down to experience as well, when he mentioned to Olenna Tyrell that it was Robb Stark who gave him the idea to kind of go where the enemy doesn't expect you to be, which is a big thing here, and it's quite expert that, well, we thought that Tyrion had been a genius in taking over Casterly Rock when he said that, well, you're not going to go up the front gates, it's impregnable, so go in the sewers which I created. And, well, that turns out that his brother is smarter than him by quite some way, and was able to kind of send his armies elsewhere and then come back with a huge force who could then starve out the Unsullied, who are probably not that used to being the other side of a siege situation. I know we kind of had that before, but they're not in this kind of siege situation that a lot of other kind of Westerosi houses and families and armies have had before. So it does seem like she's bitten off a lot more than she can actually chew here. It's not looking good for her. It's going to be pretty terrible. And I think it's only going to get worse before it can get better. Because last week we had Cersei, who was really, really on the back foot. And here, Cersei, she's got win after win. She has got Yara. She has got the Sand Snakes. And now Jaime has got Highgarden, as well as probably quite easily going to take Casterly Rock, as well as having a weapon which can kill dragons. She may not have the kingdoms behind her, but she seems to have better people behind her as well, who have a lot more experience. Now, Highgarden I mentioned just then. Highgarden is something which I'm very interested in. It would have been a big battle, and Highgarden being against the Lannisters and against Cersei explicitly there, that would have been a huge battle. That would have been a season-long battle. I mean, we had Winterfell in a couple of seasons previously, which was completely and utterly a whole thing around it. And we saw the battle for Winterfell. We saw Jon in that battle as well. And that was a huge thing. And Highgarden, okay, they didn't have the soldiers, but they kind of just skipped over this. It kind of like was a little thing at the end. However, I loved Diana Rigg just mentioning that she actually killed Joffrey. Now, Cersei isn't going to like that one bit, but what's she going to do? She's fucking dead. And the whole of now Highgarden and the Tyrells are gone. I'm not too sure what happened to the Lord as well, the father, I think, of Loras and Marjorie. I'm not sure what's happened to him. I think he was in the explosion at the end of last season, so I'm not too sure. Let me know in the comments if I've missed something there. I'm not too sure where he is on the board, so to speak. Now, the War for the Dawn has been mentioned quite a lot, and it's kind of seemingly probably definitely going to happen as well, but it's a shame that it wasn't mentioned or progressed any further, but I expect that will happen later on. And I also want to know what Littlefinger and Sansa... Littlefinger seems to be planning something a bit more. He seems to be kind of really kind of in his machinations of everything. He seems to be kind of absolutely being a shit and trying to get a lot of stuff out of Sansa. But I thought Sansa would have been a lot smarter than we brought her to be. And obviously we've got Bran coming back. Will he be the Lord of Winterfell? Will he finally be the Lord? Because technically he is the rightful heir. He is a male. I'm not sure because Sansa is older. And we've also got Jon Snow. He isn't the rightful son or even the proper son. He's not a son of Ned Stark, is he? So we've got that. So that's a big thing there. Will he become the Lord of Winterfell? He mentions he's the three-eyed raven and he's shown Sansa his powers. So I was kind of gutted we didn't get to see more of that, but a lot of stuff is going on which we have to build up. Now the Sand Snakes are completely gone, and well, that storyline is finally done. In A Feast for Crows, I absolutely hated that storyline. It was so boring, and they actually managed to make it a bit more interesting in the show, but they're done. The Sand Snakes are done. Elia, sorry, I can't pronounce her name that well, but she is done as well. And will Bronn come back and actually try and save them? Probably not at all. And next up, we had something which was mentioned quite a lot. The Mad King was mentioned a lot this episode, and every time it seemed, it cut to Cersei. So the question is, will Jaime Lannister, who has had that talk with Olenna, how she is absolutely mental, and Olenna, who would do dirty things, didn't even do half the things, couldn't imagine the things that Cersei had done. Will Jaime Lannister actually kill Cersei? So that has been mentioned quite a lot. Will he be the one? Will Cersei go too far and Jaime step in? We saw in the first episode she was standing on the neck and he was standing on the fingers. So that is a big thing there as well. But good episode. I am looking forward to this a lot more. It is my show. It is my favourite show on TV that is still actively running, having seasons by far. So that is it for this video. Please do drop a like. Please do subscribe. And I'll see you soon. Goodbye.